Start streaming.
Start streaming the news.
3, 2, 1. We're live.
We're not really live.
Not really live. We're recording this one.
This is a record.
But it's streaming live. So we don't have to upload that nonsense later.
Yeah.
See how that? See? It's already there. Those of you not live streaming, live stream, damn it. It's easy. Holy cow.
Don't have to be so mean.
Yeah, I'm serious as a heart. That's a bunch of cuckoo if you ask me.
Oh, thank you for showing my jersey again.
Well, we had to shut that down for a little bit. Yeah.
Haters.
Those Bromos guys on their park, you get intimidated. Cowboys fans not liking the Patriots jersey in the back.
Forget this is my studio.
They don't know what the
It's a good try.
shit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So hello.
Hello again.
Hi, long time no see.
People probably are curious as to why you're not doing hands to the face. See,
I need to do it. It's so bad. I just don't. I lack the creative. I do, and I don't have a co-host, so it's very hard for me to talk about sports by myself because
like Colin Cowherd, and anyway, just all the guys that do that.
Yeah,
and then a couple of the girls that do it. Not many, which is why you need doing it, but they sit there basically by themselves. Colin now has the girl that
he has
assists.
Joyce. Yes.
Joyce, yeah?
Yeah.
That is kind of a sister that's kind of there as a balance. Mm-hmm. But man, I don't know how those guys do it.
I think for the direction that I wanted to go and for my personality, I'm much more dynamic and much better with a co-host. I just am,
yeah, you
right?
Play. Otherwise, it feels scripted. It feels like you're performing over than...
Yeah, so I don't like that too much. And honestly, with the two young kids, and a lot of sports happen at night, and so I would have to be doing work throughout the night to get everything done before the morning, before I get up to get them ready for school, to take them to school. It's just really difficult. So that's why my podcast has fallen off the face of it. It's not totally fallen. No, it's still there.
We'll get it. I'm just saying there is a space for attractive women that know sports talking about sports.
I love it. I do. I love it. It just, I didn't enjoy talking to myself.
Yeah, that's tough.
I didn't enjoy it, right? So, because when you talk about things, whether it's, Leonard Fournette getting into that fight yesterday or the dude flipping, no matter what it is, it's much funner when you get to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah, because you see a reaction. There's an energy. Because I'll do it. Even when I do those little clips and stuff like that where I'm just staring at the camera, I'm like, oh, how do I get up for this? It's nonsense.
Even doing my minute thing, and it was literally just facts,
stat line, man.
Stats.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you make this not sound like a commercial? And you can't.
No, you don't.
So.
Yeah.
Whatever. When I can afford to pay someone for creative, then we'll get somewhere.
Yeah,
but
we'll get that.
I'm not there yet.
I know. So relationships and the holidays. This is something that we talk about a lot on the treadmill at the gym.
On the treadmill, in the car, at the dining room table.
Because we have so many friends and acquaintances and people that we know that are in and out of relationships. And sometimes...
Like they change their underwear.
It's just insane.
And I don't mean to be judgmental. That's the wrong way to say it. I think it's just because, especially with social media, it's coming out more and more and more that you see it more, right?
Yeah.
1 minute somebody's so in love and it's so this and blah blah. The next minute there was somebody else.
I know, and
I don't know the dynamic of the relationship. I don't know if there was anything bad that happened. It may have just been they didn't work. It could have been a plethora of things, but
it is. And I'll say this is so when we're going through this, we're going to pose a lot of questions. We're going to try to answer a lot of questions from our perspective, right? I'm not going to plug a bunch of science and stuff into it. I may have some stats. Don't worry, I always have stats. But we're going to ask.
He's going to say the word epigenetic at least 3 times.
No, absolutely not.
No, you're not.
5. Anyway, but we're going to ask questions and we're going to challenge things, and it doesn't mean we're judging things. It doesn't mean we're judging it. It just means that maybe we don't understand it and we're trying to figure it out, and we're going to work through it. And these are things that we've discussed.
But I think it's also things that other people have either asked or said or jokingly said or kind of poked around and said. And it's, I think with anything, you should be able to answer the question, right? Yeah. If you feel offended by a question that's respectfully posed, then that's your thing, not mine.
I agree.
Right?
So talking about love. And you always, the words associated with love are always death.
Oh.
Love and death and marriage.
Taxes,
and some other kind of nonsense. So you've got to jump over to the pages.
Okay.
See, this is the first time you've had to be a part of this, right?
Oh, the plug.
Yes. So National Life Group has a special deal going on, which is the Living Life Policy. So those of you who don't know, getting life insurance is massively important.
We have it.
We have it. We have it for the boys. I just learned you can get them for dogs and animals. I had no idea anyway. Besides the point, they have a Living Life Policy that allows you to build your life insurance and draw from it while you're alive should catastrophic things happen, terminal illnesses and anything in that realm of catastrophic.
Yes.
We'll just put it that way. Our person is Gail. She will help get through the smoke of this stuff, make it super simple, super easy, ask you just a couple of questions and figure out if it's the right thing for you or not.
I just think everybody should have life insurance. This is not even part of the plug.
No.
You know, even after my dad passed, learning he had no life insurance. And then we had to do GoFundMe, and we had to, you just don't want to have to deal with that stuff.
It's expensive.
At the time that it happens.
It's
you just want to
expensive.
get it taken care of ahead of time so that you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. And Gail helped us with my mother-in-law, your mother, who was over 70 years old.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? We'll just say over 70. She doesn't think so.
No.
Maybe 17. It's a English issue. But it helped her. So you can get policies, you can get these things done. Gail makes it easy. The link is there on the screen, but it is jasoncpowell.com/NLG to make it simple.
And
you get there, you can click it, shoot Gail an email.
There's no obligation, just get information. And
yeah, no pressure, no nothing like that, but it's super important. So check it out. It is far less expensive than what you would imagine.
It is. Like even for, again, my 70-plus-year-old mom, I mean, $100 and something a month, which is nothing, when you look at it, and you have to really look at it in the sense, like we look at our son's education. Yeah. It's an investment. It's money well spent, not wasted.
Exactly. So,
well, thanks.
Check it out. jasoncpowell.com/NLG and hit Gail up.
Hit her up.
Make her do some work over the holidays, damn it. That's all I'm trying to say. But, again, so we have friends.
We do?
Not many anymore, especially after this, because they're going to be like, you're talking about me.
No.
So it's this. Here's one of the big things that we talk about all the time. The world of fitness, including going to the gym life, having a country club gym life, 24 Fitness, Lifetime, LA Fitness, all of these things encompass that stuff. So when I say world of fitness, I'm not saying people who compete, who compete in CrossFit, people who are professional athletes and things like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the world of fitness. So often there is a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, couple, significant other situation, right? Mm-hmm. Partners, whatever. The whole list of things. People are together.
Yes.
Right? One starts to work out, gets fit, gets a little bit of attention, gets some of these things like this, and then the person that they loved their whole life is now not their love of their life, and they've gone on to someone who typically resembles a stereotypical personal trainer.
We've seen it many times.
It happens so much.
We joke about it because it's true. We've seen it so many times, and it's not. I would say it's not surprising anymore. I'll see people. I'll say women just because there's a few that come to mind. Married, kids, career, the whole thing, and then get into fitness, the whole thing. They start looking better, and then the next thing you know, months later, they're divorced.
Right.
Now, it can be attributed to a lot of things. My thinking, and I could be wrong, is, how do I say this? Especially man or woman, okay? I think we all have our own issues with our bodies. Right?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. We all have our own issues. So when you get, especially in a relationship, especially in a marriage, you get to this comfortable place, right? We're not in this place where, I'm sorry, we've been together 11 years. We don't go to the bathroom in front of each other. We just don't, right? But what I'm saying is people get to that point where they're comfortable, right? Comfortable seeing me undressed and this is my body or this is whatever. And this is us, right? When deep down inside, maybe a woman or a man didn't realize this, but you know what? I wish I looked better, right? So the second they start looking better, it's like, oh, the confidence gets built up. They carry themselves differently. And instead of being like, they settled and maybe not necessarily settled, but they were okay with this.
Right.
But now they see that they can have more. And again, getting more attention from, let's say, more attractive men. And they could be dumb as rocks. They could be super nice. They could be smart. They could be anything, but better looking. But now the person knows they have more options, right? And then we go back to this whole thing is a completely separate discussion that we've had before, talking about the spark and feeling new and being excited, and people are attracted to me, and I need to feel that. So they're starting to feel this.
Right.
And so once that stray happens and you're at the gym 5-6 days a week, and we talk about this with work, in the office, whatever, you're around these people more than you are your spouse. And when you're home, it's stress, it's kids, it's dinner, it's bills, it's, whatever.
It's life.
It's life. And it becomes unattractive.
Right.
So then they move on.
See, and that's something. So I think it's obviously multi-layered and such. But again, take a business professional with a family, right? And this can be the husband or the wife. I mean, you could plug this either way. It doesn't matter. Or significant other or partner or the whole laundry list of things there. Typically, when there is a family unit that fitness isn't already in the lifestyle, and you add that to the lifestyle, there's going to be some friction with the opposing side.
Correct.
Because you're taking time away from the family to take care of yourself. Important, yes, you should do it, right?
But it wasn't part of it.
It wasn't what they bought into. And I hate to say that. There's all these cliche statements
right,
we'll use. They didn't buy into it. So now you're like, well, now you're gone an extra 10 hours a week doing this fitness thing, and you're looking better, and you're on your phone a little more, and you're playing the Instagram thing, and you're
everybody's posting.
I'm seeing you post sexy pictures, but we have less sex. So where is this going? Right? So now you're creating maybe some self-confidence issues with whoever the partner is. So the opposing side. There's some jealousy issues. Now they're raising questions. And now you're around them even less than what you were before, because you're both professionals. So now whoever the other person is has more weight of taking on the children, taking on the bills, taking on the chores, because you're gone an extra 10 hours a week.
I think, you hit on it when you talk social media. That's another totally different beast. But when you start dedicating more of your time and attention to, like you said, it is important to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But that's like not everything you do, but you know what I mean? Every time I turn around, you're posting on Instagram, you're looking at your social media, like, okay, well, and what begs the question that I think should be asked, and a lot of people do ask, is why do you need to post those?
Right.
Because everything that we do, every single thing that we do on social media is for a purpose. It's for us, or it's to get a reaction.
Yeah.
Right? Some sort of comment, compliment, to poke the bear, no matter what it is. You're posting it for a reason, right?
Yes.
So if I'm, the wife of whoever, and I'm like, okay, well, why are you posting these pictures? Right? Oh, now you get addicted to, oh, well, there's 50 likes.
Yeah.
And now there's 60 likes, and oh, you can see who likes your picture. So, oh, this cute guy, Joe 365, liked my picture. So now I go to his profile, and then we start interacting, and I start liking his stuff. It's this whole thing. It's social media, man. I'm telling you.
And I'm not saying social media is bad. Some people make a lot of money on social media. Some people do some things. So I'm not trying to attack social media. I'm just saying that it is a tool that we as humans are absolutely ignorant on. We don't know how to use it. We don't know how to regulate it. We don't know what all it means. We don't know the implications of it. We don't know how to deal with things like that, because we're making a very large world very small, but yet there's distance, and then there's not really accountability, but sometimes there is, and you can take risks you wouldn't normally take, and it's this very awkward thing from a social standpoint to psychological standpoint to just it goes
because it always goes to the question that no matter if it's a man or a woman or how it all plays out, it finally gets to a point with the person posting, you either trust me or you don't, right? And when you lay that out, that's like, okay, so let's pretend it's a man saying it to a woman or whatever. I'm like, well, shoot, now I can't say anything because then it'll be a fight, or maybe I don't trust him, or well, I'm happy with it the way it is. I don't want him to get so mad that he leaves me, and whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It spins and spins and spins and spins, and it's social media.
That's what I don't like about that statement, is that either you trust me or you don't. Oh, that's true. That's very true. I think that is a very true statement, but that's not really what they're saying. because there's a very clear and definitive difference between, do you trust somebody or not, yes or no, or is what they're doing inappropriate, yes or no. And somebody can be doing things that are inappropriate and you still trust them, but it's really not a matter of trust. It's a matter of being inappropriate, which inappropriate behavior is at some base level unethical or unmoral, which typically the more of those things you do in life, the more you're going to go down that path through your daily actions.
Right. So
if you start lying about a dropped cup and then you start lying about why you were late, even though it was inconsequential, even though it was, then it's why you're late. Well, then it's, well, why are you posting this? Well, then why are you, wait a second, you work with that lady, but that wasn't business. You were having coffee. Then you start, it just slowly is going to start into becoming more and more and more. It's going to build. The way humans work is typically you don't start to do immoral things or unethical things without consequence, and you just stop them.
Right.
There has to be some level of consequence for you to stop them, for the most part, right? So maybe it's not a matter of does the person trust them or not. It's a matter of is what they're doing inappropriate.
Yeah, but don't you find that I have found mostly, because I'm a guy's girl, right? So I've always been friends with more guys, right?
Yeah.
And it just seems to me that the line of what's inappropriate is different between men and women. And I think women, because a lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, and anytime I make one of these statements, it's a blanket statement, and it's just because I hear it a lot, right? Women sometimes tend to be a little bit more insecure, right? And emotional. And so it's, oh my gosh, it's everything, that's, I would never do that. So how could you do that to me? Whereas a guy will look at do something and like, it didn't mean anything, because it doesn't. A lot of times they're just like, oh, I just posted it, or da-da. So what I'm saying is they don't necessarily, I don't know if they necessarily know it's inappropriate. Their gauge for inappropriateness is just different. I don't know that you guys necessarily see past your nose sometimes.
No. Because I'll take posting fitness pictures, body pictures, whatever. We'll take that genre of things, right? A lot of men and young men and whatever, teenagers, but a lot of guys will post a picture of them with their shirt off or flexing or something along those lines, because they're like, holy shit, there's a line that I've never seen before. And they're posting that line. They're not
right. So let's go
right?
here. So right, there's this one couple that we talked about, right? I don't know about the guy, but the girl is Insta famous, right? And she lost a lot of weight, and now she's posting like, where she pulls the bottoms down a little bit lower, and she does all these things, right? And you're like, okay, we had this discussion, and you're like, well, I could see where this one might be appropriate, because she's pulling, like, especially for women, when you get like that those lower abs, like, hey, we're super proud of it, right? Yeah. So there. But I'm like, okay, why is she turned around and bent over something?
Yeah.
And why am I having to look at her front from the back? Right? You have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, you have a significant other. In what arena is that appropriate? Right? It's just not.
Right.
Again, if you're okay with what your motivation is for doing this, and if your significant other is okay with it, then I guess that's okay.
Yes.
It's not me. Right? So
it's a situation that, take, if you're a girl and you're got the lower abdominal line, you're super proud of it. I've seen a ton of women in a sports bra and sweatpants, and they're still showing their body, but they're kind of pulling under the side like that, and you can tell it's cool. Then I've also seen a lot where they're wearing a sports bra, but then the bottoms are different. They're super low cut shorts, and they're pulling their stuff down, and you can see the top of their junk. And you're like, if I start to see that little bulge of your stuff, you're probably not just trying to show off the lines on your hips.
I mean, and some of it too is just in the context of the picture, right?
Well,
and there's some things too that I'm like, I mean, I haven't posted a bikini picture, I don't know how long, right? But I have. And sometimes, even with women, we like to feel sexy. We like to feel beautiful, right? So there's sometimes that, and I'm not going to say it's, I'm a mom now, so I can never post anything that's sexy or beautiful, but we have to go with intent.
Yeah.
Right? What is the motivation? And so getting back to relationships, I think that's really what it comes down to. And so I have a hard time with this one, and maybe your people will have something to say about it. I am a very insecure person. That's not a secret, right? So I work through it every day. So before people jump on like, oh, it's your problem, it is my problem. It's absolutely my problem, right? So I've had, women come to me privately or, whatever, and be like, oh, I don't know what to do. My boyfriend is posting all this stuff and, he's never around anymore. And I looked in his phone and I saw this and I saw that and it just doesn't seem appropriate, or he's, liking this on a girl's page. And I'm like, ugh, okay. And then I have to work through that with them. Right. Because again, the psychology behind me liking your picture, I want you to know I liked it.
Right.
Right. That's the point of liking it. Otherwise you just look at it.
Right.
Right. So I'm like, well, liking out that maybe what I don't know. Maybe is he trying to get followers? I don't know. And well, when they start posting the emojis of like the fire or the heart eyes,
yeah,
that is not okay. That's not okay.
That is never.
That's not okay. And so when we get, let me just get through this part first because it I'm curious what people have to say. Right. So, we go to the same gym.
Mm-hmm.
We don't work out together. We barely talk to each other when we're in there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we work out at the same time, just not. We don't do each other's workouts.
No,
right.
No. We're not hugging. We're not holding hands. You're not spotting me. We're not. I may walk over to you like I'm super annoyed and be like, "What's up?" Right.
And say something highly inappropriate to our breaths that other people don't see that we find very humorous. But anyway, continue.
So we work out at the Sports Bra and Gymshark capital of America. Right.
Yes.
Everybody is in tight pants and a sports bra.
Yes.
I am in baggy pants, sometimes a t-shirt, not a t-shirt all the time, but like I'll wear typically baggy clothes. I'll wear like a football jersey, I'll wear a basketball jersey, whatever. Was not always the case. It was not. I used to wear a lot of fitness type clothing, never a sports bra, right? But fitness type clothing. So I cannot be mad at them for doing that. Right? They work hard, they're showing off, whatever. Again, there's a difference of I'm like, okay, is she doing deadlifts or is she wanting you to look at her ass? Right? There's a difference. So getting back to social media, right? You know the story. I'm going to tell it anyway. There is a female. I'm going to talk to you like you're not in the room, but you're also in the room, but you're not in the room. So that you have spoken to at the gym. I have never met. I've never been introduced to. She's never made it a point to say anything to me. Not a word. Right? And then the next thing you know, because Instagram and the way it works, I see that you've liked her pictures.
Right.
And not pictures of her in work clothes. Pictures of her in a dress or sexy pictures. And I'm like, why? Right? Bothers me. And so I had to have, I had the conversation with him. And it was a conversation of, well, that whole, it doesn't mean anything. I'm like, well, it does. To me, it does. Because you see this woman every day. You see her every day. And you talk to her, but don't talk to her. And so to me, I'm like, it's almost coming from the point of, this isn't where you're at. But what I'm saying is it comes from a woman who, when they find out years later that they've been cheated on, like this was going on in front of my face. And you never introduced me to her. Like, so she's laughing at me when she's never met me, yet you're liking her stuff. So you guys are having this interaction behind my back, and yet her and I have never met.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from for me. I'm like, how dare you like one of her pictures in a low-cut dress, and you see her every day, and she knows, oh, like this is how, if I'm her, I'm like, I bet his wife doesn't even know he likes my pictures. That's you got to understand the psychology of a woman, right? So I'm very curious what... Still, to this day, I saw her at the gym the other day. Never said a word to me. Never looked at me. Yet you're like, no, she says she knows I have a wife. They all say that.
Yeah.
They all say that.
And it comes down to, and the deal was, I was like, okay, I get your point. So I stopped liking the pictures because it's during the phase. I go through these phases because, take all my PTSD bullshit. I go through phases of being motivated and being not. So when I'm motivated, I'll go through and I'm playing the whole Instagram game. Follow to unfollow, and then all the people you do, you start liking their stuff. So then the next several days, their stuff posts, you just keep liking it, and you make you do the occasional comments, you do all that kind of stuff. Don't do heart eyes and fire and legs in the air shit. But, you know, like, oh, cool restaurant, been there before, you know, stupid shit like that, right? But that one bothered you. Well, luckily you said something because it just, I literally have a notebook full of just username accounts. So I know which ones to delete and which ones not to. And now there's apps to do it. But anyway, so you go through and do that stuff. So yeah, there are innocent times that someone that you're with or around or dating or married to or whatever are going to be playing that game. And it's the duty of the other person. You got to say something.
Right. And I think that's
because as we say so many times, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So if I'm here playing this game, like this, sure, like this, scroll like this. Oh, another person like that. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the deal.
I think that's it. It's, you know, the discussion has to be had, or otherwise, especially for women, we can't compartmentalize like men.
Yeah.
Right. It'll eat away at us and eat away at us and eat away at us, and then we start like researching her Instagram and then researching yours and then looking at histories, and that's just what we do, right? It's not as simple as, well, I trust him or I don't, right?
No, something inappropriate. Not. And to be honest with you, from my perspective, it's not inappropriate because it's just another account. You know, so when you kind of go down that perspective of it, but it bothered you. So once I knew that it bothered you, it was kind of like we had to clarify, like, okay, well, this is why I'm doing it. This is what's going on. And you're like, okay, well, this is why it bothers me. I'm like, cool, understand. Didn't. Done. Like, it's just that easy. You know, so then it would then be a problem if later, you know, whatever, after that discussion, that you come back, you're like, oh, well, now there's another 20 pictures message. Oh, and now there's a DM or a text message, or now that, you know, there's.
Well, I mean, too, it's not even like, oh, right, and that's the thing is there was never comments, there was never anything. It was like you know, like a picture. So that's the other side of this. It was never, and even in my brain, it was never like, oh, is he DMing her? Am I going crazy? Like, you know what? So it wasn't to that. It was never to that level with me. It was a matter. I think this is where we're getting with relationships is the understanding of seeing something through the other person's eyes.
Yes. And
you don't always, like you said this to me a long time ago in one of our relationships. You're like, I'm not going to basically feed, facilitate whatever my insecurities.
Yeah.
Right. So and that was a little cold back then. But so the point is, it's not necessarily, well, it bothers you, then I'll just stop. Like, there has to be that discussion.
Yeah.
Right. You have to be able to have that discussion of, you know, you need to try to see it through my eyes, even though you say it's not a big deal. This is how I feel. This is the way I think. This is how I see it through my eyes. This is how it appears.
Yeah. And so to walk through it, the lesson of this, right, is that my intentions were fine and pure, getting some extra followers, right? Your perspective of it was very accurate. There's nothing inaccurate or unjustified about it, which can happen, right? So so clearly that was going on. So neither one of our intentions were bad. So now the next step was you had to communicate it. And not only did you have to communicate it, you had to communicate it in such a way that wasn't going to force me into a defensive position.
Right.
So you couldn't come and attack me about it. Because if, again, remember, my perspective is pure. There's nothing wrong with my actions or my intent. So if you come and attack me, I'm immediately going to shell up, which is going to escalate, and then there's no solution.
Well, I think that's...
So you brought it up, right?
Yeah.
Then we had the discussion. I explained what was going on, which I think you understand that. You said you did. And then you explained your perspective, which I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I got it. I agree. Not that was my intent. So it's not enabling your insecurity,
right?
But it was explained and it was discussed to a point that you say, okay, you know what? I understand. Got it.
Well, I just don't like when, you know, this is another reason why I'm not friends with a lot of women.
Yeah.
When they think it's funny or empowering that they're like, you know, happy wife, happy life, and well, blah 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 blah. I don't play that game. No. And this whole like, well, who the fuck is this? And blah 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 blah. Like basically trying to castrate you.
Yeah.
Like I don't play that game, and I don't like it. I don't think any man likes it, and I don't think
no human likes that.
No human likes that, right? Yeah. So, and like, well, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, build all this up, and then I'm just gonna throw it at him and be like, what the fuck is it? I'm like, no. Here's my problem. What do you have to say about it?
Here is a small spark or kindling of potential problem. What do you think? As opposed to dumping all this shit.
And it's awkward. It's awkward because, you know, you could be in a great mood, you can be in a bad mood, and I'm like out of nowhere, like, hey, There's something that's bothering me. And no matter what no matter when, I don't care who you are, when somebody comes at you with we have to talk, there's something bothering me, it's never pleasant, right? The other person's not like, oh, this is going to be a great conversation.
Yeah.
Really excited. I think you're automatically like, oh, crap, what's this about? Right?
Yeah. Always.
Because otherwise you're just having regular conversation.
Right.
And
you're not going to preface regular conversation with, hey, we really need to talk about that.
And you can usually tell, especially when you've been together for so long, like, I know the facial expressions that you make. I know the little tendencies and the musculature of your face when you're about to say something stupid.
Yep.
I know it. Like, I know when you're about to say something like, hey, like, you know it, right?
Yeah.
So usually with me, it was like a big exhale. I'm like, especially dealing with someone with PTSD.
Yeah.
There's never a good time.
No, it's never a good time to launch a bomb.
It's never a good time, especially since the times that he's in a good mood, those are the times you don't want to say anything because he's in a good mood, right? So it's tough. And so I don't, going a different way with this, I don't understand this, and I don't know how anyone can make me understand this. We've been together 11 years. I'm still getting to know you. Right?
Yes.
And I tell all my friends this, or I'll tell my girls that I coach this, like, don't get married so young. Wait. You have so much life, so much development, so many life things that you have to go through and live through that you don't even know who you are yet. Don't, stick yourself onto somebody else while you're discovering who you are. It's just, sometimes it works. And there's stories of, yes, people fell in love in high school and they've grown together and it's great. They were a great match.
Sometimes that works.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Right. When you get married to somebody after a month, a year, I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I do not understand it. You've not had to go, like, because the honeymoon phase is great with everybody, I think. Like, it is.
Yeah.
But you have to figure out how somebody deals with the hard stuff, with death, with financial stuff, with all the bad stuff and all the good stuff. And I think, I've seen some relationships too that both people know in the beginning they never want to have kids. And those are great because it's communicated from the beginning. Not a girl that really wants kids, the guy doesn't, and she just stays with him hoping she can change his mind, and then he doesn't, and then she's like heartbroken. He said he didn't want kids.
Right.
But women, we usually, no matter what it is, well, if I love him enough, and if we create this thing that's enough, he'll change his mind. Yeah.
And that's one thing, I interject that. I feel wholeheartedly that in a massive majority of situations, you are not going to change someone, right? You're not going to change them. So it's like step one, get that out of your mind. You can nudge people and do these things, but there is a range of what a person is going to be. And that's typically what they're going to be all the way through, right? There's always circumstances. There's always variables. I hate that I always have to say that, right? Because very few things are universal in life.
Just my heating pad.
So you're not going to change somebody. So get that out. Like, get it out. If somebody is this way, that's how they're going to be, especially when they're an adult. The other thing is waiting until you get married. I mean, you are not a fully developed adult until after 25 years old. I don't think it should be legal for people to get married and make lifelong permanent decisions before the age of 25. I don't think so. People are like, oh, you're screwing people's freedoms. Are we?
I mean, yeah.
But really, are you? Are you screwing people's freedoms because they can't drink till they're 21?
I get it.
Sometimes people, you don't know what you don't know.
Correct.
And when you're not 25 years old and you only have a maximum of 20 years of remembering or of life, which so much of that is you're learning, you don't have a long time. You don't have a long history of a memorable actual adult life at 25 years old or under 25 years old. What are you doing deciding you're going to get married?
I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people who I've spoken to mostly, it's just this checklist. Yeah. Right? We get out of school. It's time to get married. You got to have kids. The whole bop, 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 bop. I'm like, no. Yeah. Scrap the list and just do you. Like, do life.
Yeah.
See as many things as you can. Date. I'm not saying sleep with as many people as you can, but date as many people. Get to know who you like. Like, if I had married any of my past exes, oh my God. No. And did I think I was in love? Sure.
Of course.
Did I?
You don't know what you don't know.
I didn't know. And I'll be honest, like if I really, really had to look back, I knew, and this is just me speaking specifically, even when I was in love with these people, I knew I could absolutely not marry them. I was just too insecure to get out.
Yeah.
That was me.
That's a whole different set of circumstances.
It's a whole different story. But I think that's the thing. And I think, as we pass things on to our children and like, you have to love yourself enough. Mm-hmm. Love yourself enough to be alone.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be alone, and you have to be able to get yourself right before you can join with somebody else and join a life together and create people.
Yes.
That are going to be raised to be people. So many of these kids just get thrown to the side because they're just an afterthought, like, oh, we made a mistake.
Yeah, they're an accessory. They're dragged along. They're dragged through shit.
It's just because you have kids, and it's like, oh, I got to drink because my kids are driving me crazy. Like,
you hit a point there, though, and this is some of the things that I've heard throughout my life. If you are not comfortable enough with yourself to go eat dinner alone, go to a movie alone, and do some of those things alone in public,
mm-hmm.
not like you just make you a little something at home in your own little kitchen by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in public and go do that by yourself. You are in no way, shape, or form ready to be married.
I mean, I agree. It's interesting. But, people these days, I'm alone on my phone. No.
Yeah. No. Alone.
No.
Alone.
No.
Sit there, have a meal by yourself where
mm-hmm.
there's other people, with other people,
mm-hmm.
looking at you and observing that you're alone and you're cool with it. And you'll some little head nods or some wave and this and be pleasant and eat and just enjoy that. If you can't do that, you're not ready to be married.
I don't think a lot of people are ready to be married.
No, I agree with that.
It's just like it's so easy to get out of. It's like, we'll get married. Oh, we'll get married for insurance, or we'll get married because it's easier. Or,
shit.
Let's just get married.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So it doesn't hold the same value, and it doesn't have to be, for religious reasons or whatever. Under the eyes of God, whatever the things are, right? If you're in love, you're in love. I'm not judging. What I'm saying is, wait.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about my friends who are not married that have been together for 10, 11 years and more.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, why do I? And it's true. I don't need a piece of paper because I'm committed to him the same.
Right.
I don't need his last name because it's this societal thing of, well, why aren't you guys married? Or you don't have his last name. Your son's not going to have his last name. Don't you care? No. Like, this means more to us because we commit ourselves to each other every day.
Right.
Minus the ring.
Right.
Right. I just don't get it.
I don't know, man.
Marriage, when people are like, oh, marriage should be easy. Bullshit. That's the point. Marriage, because life is messy.
Yeah.
Life is very messy. And it can be.
And there are situations, I mean, we know people, and then I know people that are married and their lives are as easy as life can be,
mm-hmm.
being married and with kids, and some without kids and things of that nature. Without kids, life is almost always easier.
Almost always easier, yeah.
I mean, children are a blessing but a curse at the same time. Be
Correct.
real. Like, don't play with it,
Yeah.
That's not easy. But life isn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're by yourself, you can position yourself so your life is easy because it's just you. It's all you have to worry about. You have everything is set. Your bills are set. Your time is set. Everything is set. You're good. So of course I can do it. Relationships, man, marriages and life are not. It's not easy.
It bugs me. People are like, oh, it should be easy. I'm like, well, because there's this one girl that it really bothers me how much, like, I put a lot on social media, right? And I put a lot about the ups and the downs, my kids, because that's my life.
Yeah.
And I want people to be a part of it, because we don't have a lot of friends here. I have family far away, and it's just, to me, my type of personality. I like people to know me, right? Yeah. I feel like she puts everything, whether it's a date, flowers her husband gives her, and those things are nice. But my point is, I feel like it's almost in reverse. They do everything because they know they're going to post it on social media. My husband is so good, and oh my God, I always date my husband, and it's date night, and we're going out, and like everything, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't. She makes it like it's so easy, and I'm like, you're full of shit.
And it may be fine. Generally speaking, for the most part, it's not.
And everybody has their issues. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they don't argue, and I'm not saying that that's what they're putting out. But again, it's not easy. Whether a spouse loses a job or, she has kids from another marriage, does the dad hop in from time to time and stir up trouble, or it doesn't matter what it is, or do you default on a school loan? Do you, whatever, no matter what it is, it all plays together, right? Because let's say it's you. How do you deal with it? And then how do I receive it? And how do I handle this different you and this different dynamic of our family and how you're treating me differently?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, but you were always so like sensitive to my feelings, and now it's all about you. And I just don't know. You're the rock. I don't know how to take care of you. And I'm not trying to make it sound like the woman is so weak and whatever. What I'm saying is that you just don't know until you know.
Right.
Right.
And getting to know people is tough because we're designed in a way. We're designed in a way when you meet people and you're interested, there's a biological side that just wants to take care of shit.
Right.
And then that whole deal about, I don't want to get in a long discussion on it, but the whole deal as far as with monogamy and
yes, does
the father stay around, and the biological components of how does the father know that baby's his, with the whole things. And there's a larger picture to it, but then there's biology, and it's not about in the beginning, because when you meet somebody the first time, you do not know who the fuck they are.
No.
You could give two shits. You want to have sex with them. You want to do something. Right? I'm just saying, right? That's
men.
That level of interest.
And women,
right.
I'm like, oh, he's hot. I'm like, yeah, I could marry him.
Right. It's
right.
a potential or not.
Right.
And so it's that situation. So men and women and others and same-sex relationships and all that stuff, they're all going to give you, I hate to call it some level of bullshit, but they're going to be putting their best foot forward.
I mean, always.
Because it's not about long-term shit. So it's almost like this. When you're going to date somebody, you take the first couple months and that's just
have fun.
That's the Joker card. And then when you're 3 months on into it, I'm just giving a number to give a number, you never look back and you never refer to the first 2 months because you're both feeding shit to somebody. Right? I mean, I'm just saying, right? Because you're going to do things you don't normally do. You're going to go out of your way in ways that you don't normally go out of your way. You're going to be a different person. That's how we're wired. It's not ill-intended.
No, but life changes, and it's not a matter of in the beginning of, oh, I'm going to be a little bit late going into work because we were texting and it was new and exciting. Now you're like, I got to go to work. I'm late.
Yeah.
Well,
but
like I can't.
Fucking go, man.
I just can't. Well, when we were dating, you did this and that. Right. Now we're settled back into life.
Right.
Like I have to do life.
Right.
Right. I cannot cater.
And if that person didn't do all those little text things and all that kind of stuff early on, they would never get to the long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. So they have to do all the, it's a weird.
That's an interesting topic though, because there's, we've had that discussion before of, the beginning stages and, the romance and and what changes and what doesn't and how some things have to change. Yeah. But there's certain things that you're like, well, this is not who you were when we first met.
Right.
And you're like, well, of course, I was courting you. And like, no, but you were super sensitive back then.
Yeah.
Or you were super whatever. And now you're like, you could give two shits.
Yeah.
Right. So there are certain things that you're like, okay, I get you're not going to bring me flowers the next time you come home. Or you're not going to, some do and some don't. And that's whatever it is. But when it comes down to it and, you have, because you start, when you're dating, you're talking. It's a lot of talking.
Yeah.
On the phone, texting, on
lot.
Dates,
yeah.
Because you are trying to get to know each other, right? And so whether you say something or not, I'm inferring that, well, this is who you are because it's how you're treating me.
Right.
And so when you go from being a super good listener and offering advice and being this person and all of a sudden you act like it's an annoyance, no, you're not the same person who I thought you were.
Yeah.
Right?
And it does, and people do that and getting dressed up or this evil thing, women with makeup and getting done up, and does that make sense? So it works. I'm gonna attack the women for a little bit on this one. The first few months, everything is perfect with the girl. The makeup is perfect. The hair is perfect. Right. They smell like some level of combination of fresh flowers every single time. Right? I'm just saying. Right. every
Right.
single time. And
then they
there
stop
was-
shaving, and they
always
stop
sit
wearing
taller,
makeup.
and there was this, and they're always a little more attentive, and there was
Yeah.
and there was
Well, flirty
very,
and
all that early
what
on.
men need, because we know what men need.
Exactly. And then that changes. Then the hair's not always done. Then the makeup's not always done. But then it's that that. So I'm just saying, from a visual standpoint, that does. Men just as bad. They will, with a beard or not, they are groomed impeccably the first month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're going through the 5 great shirts they have. They've got a
Yeah.
perfect system on that, so that
They
you don't
actually putting on
recognize it.
cologne?
Yeah. They do all of that kind of shit. Everything is there, and it's just. I understand why it's there. I think where I get frustrated is that people later look back on it and reflect and that's how it should always be.
It's not how it should always be, but I think, again, it's the reaction of some women I know, right? And no, you're not going to have makeup on all the time, especially when you have kids. It's just not.
No.
My hair is always up. I don't have makeup on.
Don't even try.
But it's just a matter of when it's the defensive, offensive thing of well, this is who I am. So I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, that's...
But men are visual creatures, right?
Yeah.
You have to try.
Yeah.
Right. So, just like women or whoever, you're going to complain that, oh, you're all scruffy.
Yeah.
Men probably feel the same way. Right. And so I think it involves everything, right? Because there's some, especially when you've been together for a while, men and women can look at their partner, and it's in those moments of au naturel, right?
Yeah.
No makeup on, taking care of a newborn baby when
Yeah.
you're dead tired. It's those when you really realize, that's I love this person.
Yeah.
Right. And so that stuff doesn't matter. Yes, we're visual creatures. Yes, it's nice. You like it, when I'm dressed up more or have makeup on. Of course, it's attractive.
Yeah.
You can't say it's not attractive.
Right.
That's why we do it.
Right.
Right. So I'm not stupid. You have to quit pretending it's not what it is.
Right.
That's why we put makeup on.
Right.
To make ourselves feel better and to look better and to make us more attractive to the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever. That's why we do it. So quit pretending.
I'm going to plug this one. So probably wind up making a good clip for later and get ourselves in trouble. Sex.
Okay.
Okay. We've discussed this and
I
things
don't know
like
where
that.
this is going.
Well, no, but this is to the women. Okay. If you, as a woman in a relationship with a man, I'm talking heterosexual relationships. I can't speak on others because I don't know it, right? We don't have experts here on that. So in a heterosexual relationship, if the woman creates a standard that sex is a reward and you condition the man to think, what do I have to do to be able to get sex? And it becomes a reward system, you're setting yourself up for some big trouble later in your relationship.
Give me an example.
Right? Oh, well, whatever. You forgot to take the trash out. You didn't get any tonight.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I
that
hate
type
that.
of stuff,
no.
to where it's a
No.
reward system, or, oh, well, you did this, so you're not getting any.
I hate when people do that.
It's got to be. I understand that you can be angry and not want to have sex with somebody. That's not what I'm trying to say. You have conflict, and some of those times, sometimes those things are legit. But if a guy does that sometimes, and then later, just without intent, it's like, oh, I love my wife, brought some flowers home. Oh, ooh, that's nice. You're getting some tonight.
Yeah, no.
You can't. Oh, it's gonna be good for you tonight because you did this. If you create a reward system, right? You're gonna, like I said, you're gonna condition the guy to think, what are the things I need to do to where I know I'm gonna get some sex? Then the guy's doing things not because he wants to,
Because he wants to get laid.
because he wants to get laid.
Men, the wind blows, right? And you just that's what you do. That's that from, I don't want to say biological standpoint. I don't want to use science, but that's what you were meant to do.
Right.
Right. To procreate and spread the seed.
Right.
That's what men were meant to do.
Right.
Right. And so I think it's this whole thing, and this is, Jason's listeners don't like me because I'm more conservative. I'm
You're gonna hit all the. Yeah,
I'm a minority woman with relatively conservative views, but I just don't. I don't agree with women using their crotch as power. I never have, and I never will. Right? That whole thing of, well, you're not getting any, or you're like, are you serious? And so, like you said a minute ago, of like, well, if there's conflict and blah blah blah, then you don't want to, because again, there are, let's be real, especially when you've been together 11 years. There's times when it's about emotion, and there's times that it's like,
just got to take care of some shit.
it's time, right?
Yeah.
And as long as you both understand that's what it is, right? Not a matter of, because, and there's times like you just, like, no, I really don't want to tonight. And it's not now the other person not wondering, well, what did I do? Or is she this? Or I just don't feel like it tonight.
If you don't treat it like a reward
Right.
system, right? And then there are those times you're like, no.
Right. It's been days and you're like, well, were you mad at me? I'm like, I just hadn't showered.
Yeah. You're like, man, I
tired.
just ate a large pizza. I don't.
That's marriage though, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, my stomach, like,
Like,
it's not you. I
dude,
just don't.
I can't even have that sheet can't even lay on my stomach right now. Dude, like, get out. But that's real. But
Yeah.
those times are fine, funny, and humorous if the previous doesn't happen and it's not treated like a reward system.
I can't stand that, and I don't. We've discussed this before, but it just really comes down to, I think as a whole, it's truth, right?
Yeah.
You have to be truthful with who you are, what you want, what you've conveyed to your partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of relationships that I've seen, right? And you can tell especially after they've been together for a while, that the other person's really just in it just because it's too much of a headache to get out.
Oh, I think that's a lot of relationships.
It's a lot of relationships, especially in marriages, right? And
Yeah.
it's just like they're just kind of getting by, and it's like it's less of a headache to just stay with her, or him or her. We have sex every once in a while, and I just do my thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And why be miserable? And that goes on both sides, because if one person is in that state, that they're like, fuck, whatever. Just say it's the guy, the husband. There's a family, and that's the whole situation, and they're clearly miserable, and he's like, you know what? If we get out of this, we have a chance to be happy.
Yeah.
But then, not all the time. Just saying, in that situation, then the woman gets mad.
Well, you don't want me anymore.
You want this, and now I'm not gonna let you see the kids. I'm gonna take everything that's yours.
Yeah,
and
I
then
can't stand that.
creates a situation, and both do it. Everybody's guilty in different situations, but so then takes any opportunity of happiness and tosses it to the side. But so many people, sometimes men, sometimes it's the woman, in those types of situations, like you said, stay in it because it's easier, it's cheaper. Then they're either looking to have an affair. If an option comes up, they will. Yeah. There's a lot of people in that situation to where they're not going to go seeking an affair, but if the opportunity arises, they're going to jump right
because
the fuck on
that's the thing with most of these people, is that you stay in it because it's, I don't even say comfortable. It's just what it is, right? Yeah. And you're too scared to get out and be alone. So, now here's the opportunity that I was hoping would come along.
Yeah.
Right? Now I can get out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just, it is, whether it's meant to be long-term or not, it gives that spark to that person to say, no, I need to get out.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think what happens is, a lot of times with the scorned person, man or woman, it's a couple of things. One of like, how dare you replace me? Like, real, even though you don't want each other.
Right.
And I think some of it too can be because the scorned person is like, they felt like they were settling for you.
Yeah.
And now you're leaving me? Like, even though I didn't get out of it, it's like, oh, no. Like, no. So again, people have to be truthful with what it is. And yes, relationships and marriages are not, like I said, they're not easy.
Right.
And there's a lot of marriages that go through rough patches and then they get better or they whatever, because as we've spoken about before, whether it's counseling or working through whatever it is we go through so many changes throughout our lives, whether it's children or something psychological or somebody passes or jobs, there's always changes. Yeah. So again, do we grow and change together, or are we growing and changing and moving opposite directions?
Right.
And I think that's a hard reality for some people, especially if you change jobs and you're around different people and they make you feel different about yourself. And so you're just different. And then your spouse or whoever can't understand why, well, what happened? I'm still me. I've been here. You're the one who left and changed. Yeah. And then it's too late for that. Like, well, yeah, I'm just different now. And so we don't match anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a hard truth. And that I think that's hard that would be a harder one for me to sit through.
I think that comes down to communication, though. If you change jobs, you change careers, you do stuff, you've got to communicate those things, and you both have to genuinely, authentically enjoy what's going on with the other person's life.
Yeah.
right? Because if it's a deal to where like, you know, whatever, you're doing your new deal. I don't know what we can say, don't say, but whatever. So you got your cheer coaching, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you did that, I think it's cool. I know that's something you've been wanting to do for a long time, and you're doing it, and there's always obstacles starting things out. But if I was not genuinely or authentically excited about that for you or engaged in that process with you, it's going to create a divide.
Of course.
Right? And it's not, so me being authentic and me being engaging with it is authentic. I mean, you don't have to fake it. I mean, you just really have to be happy for the other person. That is going to create a stronger bond.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when someone gets a new job and does things, you have to really ask them about it. You have to really talk about it. The other person has to truly share those experiences. So it is a journey together, as opposed to I'm doing my shit over here, you doing your shit over here. And for 2 hours a night, we come together and I don't want to talk about work. That's too stressful. I don't want to talk about, I'm leaving that. When you create those separations like that,
Yeah.
and it's not shared, you're going to create problems.
It's a dance and a balance that it's hard to perfect, I think,
Yeah.
because it's, you know, so many of the most successful relationships that I know, the husband and wife, they have their own things, right?
Yeah.
They also do a lot together. They have kids, you know, they have the whole thing, but, you know, she may be going to bingo one night or doing a craft, like whatever it is, she's got her thing. And it's not like it's my thing. And it's just that's
what you do. Yeah.
Before I met you, I loved crafts.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do crafts. You know, and before you met me, you were doing blah 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 blah. And so that's what you're doing. I think there's just certain things that, like, we'll go to Berry Hill and there's people that you see there all the time that are out drinking, and I'm like, I know you have a wife and kids. Like, why are you here at night? Why aren't you going home? Like
the 8,000 times we've been here, we've seen you 7,999 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's certain, like, this whole I'm just going drinking with the guys thing. We don't drink alcohol, so that's a different story. But there are certain things that I'm like, no.
It's choices. If you need that much of an escape that many times in a row, you probably need to be out of the relationship.
Right, because that's what it is, and people just don't want to face that.
Yeah.
When you drink alcohol, you're altering your state.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
And
I'm not saying you're getting plastered, but, you know, whether it's to relax or whatever, that's you're drinking on purpose.
Yeah.
So,
well, it comes down, I think a lot of relationships come down to this. We know men are visual creatures, right? So in a heterosexual relationship, if you're the woman, you know your man is a visual creature. It is the responsibility of the woman to take it onto herself to maintain that in the range of what her husband likes for as long as possible.
Okay, you're going to get a lot of hate on this one. So let's
right. I'm going to flip back to the other
Okay.
side, okay? That's just simply, I'm sorry, that's true.
Okay.
Right? There are always circumstances and there's always excuses as to why this and why that and why. Okay, great. Take all the perimeter bullshit away. And the core of it is, that's the reality of it. From a woman to man in a heterosexual relationship, maintain visually what that guy likes as long as possible and give him as little bullshit drama as possible. No drama, not no stories, not no communication as possible. Now, on the flip, it's the man's responsibility to openly communicate, and communicate not just verbally, but in multiple ways, that they appreciate that, and to be genuinely and authentically engaged in their wife, girlfriend, significant other situations, lives, and things that they're doing. Because typically women are more social creatures in that regard. So the more the man is genuinely and authentically engaged and excited about their wives' lives and what they're involved in and what they're doing and supporting that, and support is a broad term, that's going to help the woman more.
So really what it comes down to is men are pretty basic creatures.
They're pretty basic.
Let's be real. Men are pretty basic. And I've said this as a joke, but it's the truth. All women are crazy to some level. So it's what level of crazy are men willing to deal with, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Right. I know a lot of fucking crazy women.
Yes, we know.
Which is why
women.
I'm not friends with women.
Yeah.
Just too much for me. So men are basic creatures. look good, fulfill some of my needs. Men, right?
Right.
I can deal with a lot of your shit if you just, that, right? Women, we need everything. I need you to ask me how I'm doing. I need you to notice my haircut. I need you to everything. I need you. It's not what you said. It's how you said it. It's, everything is so involved.
Yeah.
It's so involved, right? So the truth is, as we've said, men are visual creatures. Women, you can't, yes, the truth is after you have children, your body changes.
Yeah.
It does, right? And so we have to accept the fact that, no, it's not going to be perfect. Otherwise, we're going to beat ourselves up for the rest of our lives. Right.
And that's where that good as you can. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
As good as you can. But using a baby as an excuse like, oh, I'm eating for 3. No, you're not. Oh, well, it's baby fat. Well, she's 10. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You can't be like, well, if my husband doesn't love me anymore because I gained 45 pounds and da-da-da. Well, and again, men need to see that too. Are you trying to lose the weight?
Right. And does he not love you because you gain the weight, or does he not love you because you've gained the weight and because you think less of yourself because you gain the weight?
Right. It's
so there's some introspection that needs to go on to figure that out. Like look inside, figure that out, and we see it all the time. Nobody needs to look like the Greek gods and all this other kind of stuff all the time, but just go to the evil Instagram that we've talked about a bunch, and you can just type in, fit moms with babies and all this other kind of stuff. And there's plenty of women that will have multiple children, sometimes multiple birth children, or, twins and triplets that are in better shape than some of the top fitness models in the world.
But I think if you go back to it, right? And so everybody's life is different, right?
Yes.
And so as we know, there's a lot of women that, man, they have that baby, they got to go right back to work.
True.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then they're working, they leave early in the morning, they get back just in time to like take a little bit care of the kids, spend a little bit of time with the kids, make dinner, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Right. There's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's a perfect science, right?
Yeah. And it isn't.
I know a lot of women that will have to like, okay, at least 3 days a week, I'm going to take my lunch hour. And if I can't, do this, and then I'll definitely do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
Right. But I think some of that too is, as you touched on it, if your husband, again, heterosexual relationships, if your husband sees, like, and you have that discussion, like, hey, I'm having a really hard time with this. Can help me try to manage my schedule, or, let's get extra help so that I can do this and take care of myself.
Yeah.
If the effort is there, it's just different. Like, oh, so you're becoming a slob? Like,
right.
Not every, you know what I'm getting at, right? You're just not trying. And I've seen women use babies as the excuse of like, oh, and let's have another kid.
Yeah.
Have another kid. And I'm like, I thought you hated this. I'm like, oh, no. Like, you hated being pregnant, and you do nothing but bitch about how you can't do anything else. I'm like, oh, you don't want anything else to do.
Yeah.
You don't.
Sometimes women do that to themselves. And some women, and they love to be moms.
Oh,
So
I love
I'm not
it.
trying to say any of that kind of stuff. But there are a good number of women that we personally know that have had multiple babies because they don't
That's their job.
Yeah.
And that's, again, don't take this the wrong way. There's nothing wrong with being, what I'm saying is,
it's not something that they would really want to choose. They just do it because of maybe insecurities or other. I'm trying not to label, because everybody that we know are going to know what we're talking about.
right.
Does that make sense? They're going to take it personally, and don't take it personally. But there are women out there that love to be moms, and if they could have 30 kids, they would have 30 kids because they just love the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the moms that were like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with the dropping off and being this and the fucking this and blah, I have kids, blah, blah, blah. Pregnant.
They don't want to go back to work either.
Yeah.
I've heard men say, well, as long as you're taking care of the kids, you don't have to go to work. I'll work extra. I'll work overtime, so that way we don't have to put them in daycare. And it's like, ding.
Then once they're school age, like, nope, you gotta go back to work. And they're like, no, I'm pregnant.
I don't want to go back to work.
Oh shit.
Again, not everybody. Blah blah blah. I've heard the reason I speak of this because I know it for a fact.
Yeah.
And whether it's one person or 15, I've heard it. Right. Whatever. Man, your listeners are gonna hate me. They already hate me.
They already hate me too a lot of times.
I don't.
I'll get killed because I,
well,
said certain things.
Well, you'll get killed for that. We need to look at, it.
But so kill me for it, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm lying.
Well, again, so let's backtrack, right? So a lot of the reason I think when, let's say, men cheat with someone at work or cheat with someone younger or they either feel tied down is the wrong word, but at home it's nagging, we don't have sex anymore, all we do is fight, and so this other person is just, it's fun. Yeah. She's cute, she's flirting with me, which my wife doesn't do anymore. And so we're not tickling your fancy in all the ways that's necessary, right? I never tell you, I don't touch you anymore. I don't tell you look like you don't tell me either that I look pretty, whatever, but I'm not giving you what you need.
Yeah.
So you're often going to find it somewhere that there's no attachment.
Yeah.
I can do like, men are like, it didn't mean, I've heard so many men, I can't explain to you how many men I've heard that have cheated on their wife. And even in this way, they're like, well, no, I love my wife. I'm like, well, how do you explain that? Like, it really, it doesn't mean anything. I get in, get out. She doesn't mean anything to me. I didn't mean anything to her. I got what I needed. I'm like, there is a large number of men that are that way. Whereas women, we're like, we need to feel attached to you.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
Not have to, but I mean, for the most part, or it's got to be some fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, whatever.
That opens a whole nother. That's why I was just kind of like, pass.
Another door.
Yeah. But that, and it is. I mean, like I said, people are going to kill me because I said women need to look good for their men and take care of them that way. Well, sorry. It's how that works.
It's not an everyday. And I think it's a matter of, I think it's psychological as well. Men like women who are independent and can take care of themselves.
Yes.
So when you let all of that go, whether it's to take care of kids or because whatever, you're tired, it's just not attractive, right?
Mm-hmm.
You like care enough about yourself to get up and like at least change your clothes, right?
Yes.
When's the last time you washed your hair?
Yeah.
And so again, like women, we joke about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm like, and we'll get to the point. I'm like, I really have to wash my hair.
Yeah.
Like seriously, watch the kids for 5 minutes so I can wash my hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it.
There's life, and I'm not saying you do need to ignore life to do these things, but it's just if you love your husband or boyfriend or whatever this shit and you don't want them looking around, there's a super easy cure to that.
Well, some of it too is like, we're not saying makeup, because the thing is, if you have to wear that much makeup, then it makes you pretty. So I think you're saying like put on a bunch of makeup all day because
no.
that's not what men necessarily fall in love with, right?
Right.
But if you just you sit down at dinner with him and eat, whatever, a lot of just sit there and whatever, go to town on this meal,
mm-hmm.
and then you're like, oh, I gotta take a dump, and then you're like, and you don't go to the gym and you don't dress up and it's to the point, it's like, it's not
attractive. It's not attractive. So if the husband, boyfriend, whatever is not attracted in the same way, people, you can fight this all you want. There's just biological needs, man. And they're going to look. And then when they're looking, if one becomes an opportunity, they're going to do it. And it doesn't mean it really, in many circumstances, it doesn't mean they think anything about that person,
mm-hmm.
which is bad. But again, got to go back to biology. That's why the massage places, the rub and tugs or whatever they call them.
I don't know.
It's just, I just remember back from one of the attorneys that I trained that
mm-hmm.
defended a bunch of them, remember?
Oh.
And a bunch of the places that did the rub and tugs. I think that's what he called them, rub and tugs.
I've never heard of that, but okay.
Yeah, I think that's what he said. That's why those exist. Is because there's guys that are like, look, here's how much money it costs. Done. Kill a massage. Get the little happy ending and done.
Because you just need that release.
It's just a release.
It has, it's like you said, it has no emotion. It has nothing to do with how I feel about you. Like the wind could blow and you're done, right? Women were like, I can't unless you tell me how pretty I am.
Right.
And you touch me the right way.
Right.
And you're like, for real.
And here, not that, no, 0.3 PSI lighter, please, like.
Tough.
Yeah.
You're going to get slammed.
People are going to hate this shit out of me. But we're time, man.
My butt hurts.
Well, because you had the heating pad.
No, because I popped that myofascial sticking in my butt like 2 months ago. It still
Oh,
hurts.
your hip.
It still hurts.
Time for the Theragun.
Oh.
Look, that one, that's like a free plug, and that wasn't even a plug, man.
Oh, when your husband has to massage your butt because you popped myofascial sticking, that hurts. Relationships.
See? And it's not like rubbing the butt. It's like, you're like.
What were we talking about the other day? It was so, I'm like, this is our life. We were talking about the delivery of like the C-section of our child.
Oh,
like
I was explaining because I was watching. I watched the whole thing.
This is a conversation on a treadmill.
And like, you're like, how do they do that? So I'm explaining to you the entire process from beginning to end.
He's explaining to me which organs they took out and where they put them and how he put them back in and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
How the sutures went and how the incisions went and why and all. Yeah.
Like, what do you talk to your spouse about? Like, that's what I wonder. Like, what do people talk about? What do you talk about?
We talk about crazy shit.
We talk about all kind of stupid shit. But we talk about sports a lot.
Sports, relationships, and then you tolerate some of my science talk here and there.
Sometimes. The second you say epigenetic, I'm done. Like, that's where I think every relationship has these key phrases like, oh, that's crazy. Or like, oh, that's interesting. Really, that's just the trigger word of like, I'm done. I have nothing else to say, and this is zero interest to me. Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, wow. That's crazy, man.
Like when I started, you used to say it to me, and then I don't know how many years into our marriage that I heard you say it to someone else, and I really understood who you were. I was like, oh, he's over the conversation.
Don't give it out because
that's awesome.
a tool I have.
Oh, that's awesome. It's crazy. Yeah, I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's.
I'll get, especially small gym talk. I'm done so quick, man.
That's fun. Look, like I challenge you, figure that out about your significant other or spouse. Like, what are their like things? Like, what keys them off? Like, what are some of the interesting traits? Like, I think it's funny that I know, like, before you say something stupid that you're going to say it because of the way your cheeks go.
Yeah.
Right. I think
it's a telltale sign.
Different ways that your eyes go. I'm like, oh, he's about to. Oh,
there's some bullshit is about to flow.
About to come in his mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I know, and like I could be facing the other way, and I know within like a second, I'm like, oh, he's coming over to me. Like, what is he doing? It just.
Yeah.
That's when you know. That's when you know you've been with somebody for a long time. When you got that shit figured out.
Consistency, damn it. Like
no.
that.
No, because I think you have those moments, and I think the day I figured out that you were patronizing.
You loved that, right?
No, because I was like, I forgot what was happening. I don't know who you were talking to, but it was a situation that I realized that you were dummying down a lot of your conversations. Dummying them down because, let's be honest, people don't have your intelligence level. They just don't. They don't have your intelligence level or your worldliness or whatever. So I was like, why is he talking like that? Like I would watch. I'm like, that's weird. Like it sounded so not authentic because it just didn't sound like you, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, he's dumbing it down for them. I'm like, wait a minute. How many times has he done that to me? Because we'll start down science and then it'll get to physics and I get past, second year college physics and I'm like, I'm done. Because, he's quantum physics and the quantum realm and blah, blah, blah. I'll say string theory every time because it still trips me out. And then like, we'll be laying down in the middle of the night. He's like, did you know did you hear about the other planet? I'm like, no, I didn't hear about the other fucking planet. I don't know. I don't have like science it's not on my news feed. It's not like key phrases that pop up whenever Google doesn't know, so it doesn't like auto-populate. No. And it's like I feel bad because I think I'm your best friend, but I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about the other planet.
I'm all excited about the Higgs boson. This is what, 3 years ago.
The Higgs something.
You're like what?
I have to Google it because I'm fast at Googling, but I'm like,
I don't get it.
And you can see the brain is just exploding. And I'm like, well, did you see the fight on ESPN? It just... And so I always default to sports when there's nothing else to talk about. I don't know what you do in your marriage, but
Well, I try to talk about particle science, and then you somehow slide that into the last UFC or the whatever, and oh yeah.
But at least I segue. I'm like, this has nothing to do with what you just said, and I move on.
Yeah. And then I'm so scatterbrained, I just go with it. I just have fun with it.
And then when all else fails in any marriage, you talk about your kids. And then there's so many times we talk about something, there's this dead space, and we're like, Dayan's so stupid. Like out of nowhere.
We say a lot worse than that.
I'm like, he's such an ass. I'm like, did you know that he blah, blah, blah. Interesting.
So when you're raising kids, if you let your kids actually be kids, you're going to get a lot of material.
Oh, they're such assholes.
Or maybe they're just crazy. Maybe we just have crazy
We
kids.
have really interesting children. They're not a lot like me. Well...
They're way like you the whole time. Everything 100%.
No way. Well, they got all the shit from me. They got
it's like that movie, the twins.
Twins, like Julius. He's got all the pureness and goodness, and all that was left over went to you. So that's like Julius, and then whatever the brother's name was. And so they got my hyperness. They got my talkativeness. They got like that. That's it. That's all they got. They didn't get, not that there's anything else.
They get a slightly darker skin tone.
Darker skin and a little bit darker eyes. That's it. And Koi's skinny. I don't know where whatever.
Well, I'm sure everybody doesn't want to hear about our children.
But still.
But they're
Whatever.
turds.
Anywho.
Turds. Awesome. So thank you, everybody.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please don't send me hate mail because it'll make me cry. It's almost Christmas. Don't do that to me.
Well, you could definitely send me hate mail. I get plenty.
Well,
of
they'll
it
send
anyway.
you like, oh, they hate your wife. She's stupid.
That's what they do, man.
Whatever.
Yeah. Peace.
My butt.
Transition this. Well, you gotta wait a second. I get this whole delay thing.
My butt muscles hurt.
Butt muscles hurt.
Do 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 do. Daddy shark. Do 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 do.
You can't do that. I don't think we have the rights for that, man.
Oh.
We'll get in trouble. YouTube will shut us down because you sing Baby Shark.